You go in the Valley View, Jack Hensis Stadium. You're coaching against Jack Hensis, number 2 versus number 3 in all-time wins in Pennsylvania. Dunmore avenged an early loss to Old Forge. How do you see this Dunmore Bucks team for the first time in Southern Columbia history?
Well, it's kind of neat to coach against Jack. I know Jack fairly well just from coaching over the years and running into him in clinics and different functions, camps, and things like that. And he just seems like a heck of a guy, and obviously a long-time successful coach. So it's kind of an honor to coach against him at this point. But when you look at Dunmore's team, first of all, offensively, they're a power running team. That's their main emphasis on offense. So it's actually a good situation for us having played South Williamsport last week because very similar being a power running football team, which South was. That's what we see again this week. A little bit different in scheme, but again, they're going to lead with the fullback out of the eye. They're going to pull the guard. They're going to run counter trey where they pull the guard and the tackle. They're going to run a toss play where they pull linemen. So it's very much a power-oriented eye football team. They will break out of that and run some one-back, and they will mix in some pass here and there, but they're mainly a play-action team. They're not you wouldn't call them a drop-back passing team by any means. Again, they'll try to set up the pass, maybe hit a big play with play-action or possibly run a screen or something of that nature. But they're going to try to live off the run, and we've got to do a good job first and second down trying to control that running game. They're good enough and they're big enough and physical enough up front. You don't go in thinking for 1 minute that you're going to stop them, but you got to try to slow them down and control them. Try to get them into some predictable downs where if they do throw the ball, you have a better idea when they're going to throw it. On the defensive side of the ball, again, some of the same kids, big physical front, very aggressive up front, and the key, I think, for us is going to be not only to deal with, their size and strength, which I think we can match up pretty well in that regard, but they change their fronts a lot. They're basically a 4-man front, but they slide their front around. They move their linebackers around. Sometimes you get a 3-linebacker look. Sometimes it's a 4-linebacker look. So they move around probably more than just about anybody we've seen this year. They're quite moldable. And so that's probably one of our biggest concerns offensively. We've played better offensively, we feel, since the second half of the Line Mountain game, through this South Williamsport game last week. We seemed to get back in rhythm a little bit better offensively, and that was a positive because some of the games later in the season, we didn't feel we were executing as well offensively. So, we'll find out this week certainly where we are on offense. But again, on both sides of the ball, I think this is neither of us are real fancy, and they have a big physical line. So I think as is the case in many games, and you get into playoff football, I think it's the huge key here is going to be line play and how well we can play up front, how effective we are in the offensive line and defensive line facing this team.